Hey MVPs, Rico Knows here. Going to talk to you guys about UFC London. It just concluded, and we always do a results show right afterwards. And the reason for this is because I want to talk about the fights while they're still fresh in my mind, and we give out accurate notes. So the next time we see these fighters in about 3 or 4 months, we have a proper assessment of what we saw. Because usually I record the videos before the fight, and then the fights occur, and I don't record a video talking about the results or whether we missed or we got it right or what we observed in the cage, things of that nature. So we do it now while it's still fresh in our mind. This is always going to be free. This is always there for you guys. Now, I'm going to talk about every single fight. Yes, the fight card is here. How we did tonight was pretty terrible. I only made 3, really 2 parlays, and I didn't really stick with anything else. The reason I didn't fill out all the parlays and props like I usually do, I was under the weather. I apologize. It's just been the way it is. So I wanted to at least put out a product for you guys for the week, but things went a little awry. We'll talk about it, but it's just been a tough 2025. We've been knocking it out the park for 50 fight cards, and here we are in a little bit of a slump. If you look at it, we were in I'll even consider these some of the slumps here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row after being pretty solid of those 3, and it sucks, especially for the newer members, the newer people who are like, man, what are we doing here? We're winning money if you're on the Discord server. One thing I did want to do is give a special shout out before I get into the show to the MVPs that actually watch the live streams with me. We have about 20 guys left, but usually we have this pretty full in here for the cards, and we bet on the fights, and we talk about live bets during the fights. So if you were ever just blind tailing the card and you're wondering how are MVPs making any money, it's because we sit in here during the fights and we discuss things and we talk and we kind of make assessments of what's going down, and we win. That's how they win their money back. Okay, so it's pretty awesome. So shout out to the MVPs who get on the Discord server. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please join us. Come watch. We provide commentary, live commentary, assessments of the fighters and what their strategy is and what they're doing. I break down the fighters while it's happening, and I'll let you know I'm probably right more times than I'm not. I'm probably right more than you could ever imagine on a live betting assessment, just because I'm watching it and I can tell what they're about to do or what they're not going to do. And a prime example of that would be the first fight of the night here. If we started this fight, you had Fernandez versus Guram. And before the fight, I told you Guram's a tough guy. He's coming back. He's in shape. He's had a long layoff. And we really like Guram as a fighter. We like what he stands for, his identity, and everything else. He's from Georgia. Tough guy. And if you look at Fernandez, it was one of these situations where we don't know how good Fernandez is. He's 30 years old. He's only fought 12 times. And the last time we saw him in the cage was against Yahya here. And Muhammad Yahya is not a real UFC fighter. He was a charity case. And sure, he knocked him out in the first round, but I was looking at the DeCassi one where it was a split decision, and I was thinking, man, he's not a high-level fighter. He shouldn't have a chance in this fight. Vegas thought the same thing. Vegas had the odds at, minus 360 to plus 270 before the fight. Whether you know or you didn't know, I apologize. I don't like to say you know as a transitional phrase. But watching this fight, to fight for 15 minutes, and Guram here only landed 36 total strikes in 15 minutes. It's absolutely embarrassing. He was outgunned, outclassed in every way possible. And they tell me he trains with the Topuria brothers. He trains with the Chimp, right? I don't care who you train with. They can't fight for you. And people need to understand that. When you look at Fernandez over here, that man got in there and was styling on you. He had great kicks. Great movement. He just looked good. It was a lot to a little. The 30-27 is too close of a score. I thought it was 30-26. Guram couldn't walk anymore. His lead calves were both battered and bruised and gone. And Fernandez only landed like 5 or 6 kicks and really took him out of the fight. So you got a plotty type of movement of a fighter in Guram. He does not cover ground well. Yes, he wants to brawl and kind of ground you into some type of grappling match. He's a wrestler by trade or whatever, but he's 0 for 5 in takedowns in this particular fight. Could not get to Fernandez, could not close the distance safely, and Fernandez was out there looking beautiful. So Fernandez wins this fight huge by points, and we miss, and we start off the night with a miss on a lock. Now, for this particular card, 7 underdogs won, and I only accurately predicted, I think, 2 or 3 of them. That's pretty remarkable that 7 underdogs won on the card. It's a damn shame because last week I predicted a ton of underdogs were going to win, and we only got 3 out of the 7. So I predicted 7, and we were 3 and 4 on the night. Tonight it goes again, and this time we miss them. and all of the locks missed for the first time in the history of this channel. I've been picking fights for 3 years. All the locks missed. We've never had that before. We've never had more than 2 locks missed in our life. And so what made this fight a lock? Well, just my assessment of the matchup, and I was wrong. So moving forward, Fernandez is a beautiful kicker, beautiful striker, and we need to start respecting what he did because he annihilated Guram. And Guram's a decent fighter, although he didn't look like it. Okay, next fight of the night. I lose 5 units on this fight, personally. It was a fight straight up. I told you guys I put Kim on a train, and I put her on a train this morning at 2 a.m. If you saw me on live on TikTok Live, I was on live at 3 a.m. Coming back from the train station. Put Kim on a train in Columbia, South Carolina, so she can go up to Virginia, go make this bet. And we miss. And my assessment wasn't wrong. Nathan Fletcher is still a very good grappler, still a great wrestler. I thought he was robbed, essentially robbed. Okay, for him to lose this fight really shocked me. Loughran did nothing that impressed me. Loughran's just a terrible fighter. Okay, if anything, this helps us with the Loughran odds. Next time we see him, we can fade him for even cheaper. But Nathan Fletcher should have won this fight. I thought he was absolutely robbed. And I kind of blame Nathan Fletcher's corner. I think Nathan Fletcher's corner is the problem. I heard them say, so the first round, Nathan Fletcher doesn't shoot for a takedown at all. He goes out there to try to prove that he can strike. He doesn't need to be doing that. He's not a striker. He's competent in striking, but it's not like it's good enough to win you a fight. So he never goes for the takedown. And in their first fight, these two, this was a rematch. Their first fight, he won every takedown exchange. He won every scramble. He did everything right, and he did not get it done. So, and he won the fight that way. So then in the first round, he doesn't do that. Second round, Nathan Fletcher goes out there and immediately gets a takedown, dominates the whole round. The whole round. Gets his back, won't lose his back control. You got rear mount, and you're not losing it at all. You're doing everything right, and you're winning the hell out of the fight. He goes to the corner, and the corner says to him, "You're not doing enough. You need more output with your striking. You need to do this. What are you talking about?" He did exactly what we needed him to do. He was doing more than enough. And in the third round, he does not go back to what won him the second round. All he had to do was go get a takedown and do rinse and repeat. But his corner told him he wasn't doing enough, so he went out there and tried to show that he can strike and bang, and apparently 2 judges thought he lost that third round, which is mind-boggling to me. So it is what it is. We miss. It hurts. It's at this point, if you're watching the live stream on Discord, I immediately tell the MVPs, yo, that was my only bet on the card. I pick all the fights. I do a bunch of parlays for you guys. I do a bunch of props for you guys, give you all the analysis I want, but I don't bet all that often. And on this particular fight, I was like, yo, I just lost. And I lost 5 units. I said, okay, I'm AFK real quick. Talking to Kim, and I'm going, all right, I got 8 units. I just missed on 5. I got 8 units on Brady. And I'm going 8 units, but 5, it's 5 units money line, 3 for submission. That's what I told her to do. 5 units money line, 3 for submission. And now we sit and wait. And now we watch the rest of the card. Your strategy is yours. My strategy is mine. Next fight, 2 women's fighters. I initially told you don't even bet on the fight when I did my analysis. They were exactly who I thought they were. They're 2 women that come out to bang. I took a break during this fight. I figured it was just going to be a big pillow fest, like a big pillow fight. I was wrong. They were throwing haymakers. People were getting dropped. And at some point, Tumar throws a head kick while I'm grabbing my food. I come back and I see Shauna Bannon on her back doing some type of attempt at a straight armbar. And she eventually gets it. Here's what I want to tell you guys. Shauna Bannon fights in a very, I guess, weird way. She throws strikes, but she throws her kicks off of 1 foot. And eventually you get too tired for that 1 foot to, like, she stands almost like a flamingo, if I can. All kicks are thrown off of 1 foot. 1 foot's in the air, 1 foot's on the ground. But she stands like a flamingo and then kicks her foot out. It's really, and it's nifty because she wants to do a question mark kick and a high kick and a low kick and a round kick and a front kick and an up kick. I don't give a shit about her kick acumen. I'm just telling you that none of these things are going to knock you out. So her path to victory would be going to judges' scorecards, or she ends up on her back and she tries really hard for these submissions. And apparently in this fight, she got one. Well, that's because India has 0 MMA fighters. In the entire country of India, there are 0 black belts. 0 black belts in jiu-jitsu in the entire continent, or country, excuse me. 1 billion people. Nobody's a black belt in jiu-jitsu in India. I promise. Google it. Look it up. And if you find a guy from India that says he's a black belt, I don't believe you. I don't believe it. The India fighters, they don't have what it takes. So Tumar loses. Here's what we know moving forward. Tumar will bang. She's going to throw them things, but she's tiny for the division. Bannon is much bigger. So the next matchup you get, Bannon's going to get a matchup that's against a better fighter. We're going to fade her. We are going to fade her, I'm telling you. I just can't trust her to be a good all-around fighter. She's got some jiu-jitsu in her, and she throws kicks. That girl, Tumar, she's ready to bang and throw her things, but limited ability on the mat. So that's what we learned in that fight. By the way, we're on Bannon. Next fight, CLD and Andre Pulyav. So I told you guys Christian Leroy Duncan was a minus 400. At some point during the week, he peaked at a minus 650. And I told everybody, I've never seen Christian Leroy Duncan look like a minus 650 fighter, ever. Even in this particular fight, where he won 30-27, 30-27, 30-26, he still didn't look like a minus 400 fighter. He has very low fight IQ. This is an overly muscular guy, super athletic, probably one of the more fluid strikers in the world, on the planet Earth for sure. And you go out there, you throw some vicious strikes, and then you tie up in a clinch, and it hinders your ability to finish fights. You get your arms tired. I don't know what you're doing. It's just silly. And the only reason he won is because the UFC gifted him this guy, Andre Pulyav, who won on the Contender Series. This was his debut. And Pulyav went out there and, I saw a fight on Twitter. There's like a video of a guy in the stands. He's fighting another dude. And he's wearing like a white tank top, and they're at a sporting event. And they're in the stands, and they're talking to each other, and he's talking smack. And he like dodges a couple of good strikes. And then he's still in the guy's face, and the dude's still throwing. But they're in the stands. And then eventually, the guy that's punching eventually catches him. Starts blooding up his lip, busts the dude's mouth open with his girlfriend standing right there. And it's like, how are you in a fight when you never throw a punch back? That looks cool that you did all these moves, but at some point you gotta have some offense. That's this dude Pulyav right here. He's dodging punches and doing whatever. He's got great foot movement. He circles out of danger whenever there's danger, but this guy brings nothing to the table. I'm telling you right now, I don't know how many fights he has under contract with the UFC, but if it's 2 or 3, I hope they let him finish it out, because we're gonna make a ton of money every time we see him. This is not a killer. This is not a guy. I don't give a shit who he's fighting. He's not a guy. He's very cautious. He's very defensively sound. But if you fought for 15 minutes and you landed 36 significant strikes, that's essentially 2 strikes a minute. 2 strikes a minute. That, you're not real. You saw that video of the guy getting lit up in the stands. Yes, Kairos, it's a real video. I'm talking to the MVPs on the Discord server right now. But yeah, he's just looking smooth for a little bit, and then he ain't do nothing with it. Andre Pulyav is a pacifist. He doesn't believe in violence. He doesn't believe in war. That guy's not real. We can't do this. No, he's terrible. Christian Leroy Duncan. Vegas is always going to have these enormous odds on him. You can't do it. You can't believe in him. Just can't. And then we get robbed again. And some people will tell you, Rico, this fight could have gone either way. The fight couldn't have gone either way. Excuse me. I need to enlarge on this a little bit. I'm sorry. Shout out to Coaches for letting me know. I hope you can see it a little better, Coaches. Here we have a fighter in Mick Parkin and Marcin Tybura. We knew Tybura has the advantage in grappling, and we know Mick Parkin's a big heavyweight who just needs to ensure he doesn't get taken down. He definitely did that. I thought he did well, maintaining distance in his feet and everything. But Mick Parkin is slowly becoming a decision merchant. From a guy who was undefeated for a period of time until today and was knocking people out, now he's just kind of going the distance, and he doesn't quite have the cardio to push and ensure he wins the third round. Now, I saw on Twitter some people said, oh, this fight could have gone either way. Well, that's not true. If this fight could have gone either way, then one of the judges would have gave him the fight. You can't go either way when it's unanimous. It's literally impossible to go either way. Now, was this a robbery? I don't know if it was a robbery, but they got it wrong. They got it wrong for sure. I can't imagine a dude who landed 64 significant strikes. And I know it's round by round voting and all that shit and whatever, dude. Parkin has 3 minutes of control time to 1 minute of Tybora's. Parkin was a minus 880 favorite when the fight finished. Minus 880 live favorite. And we still lose. And it just sucks that we're on the wrong end of this. Now, we were on the right end of one later, but that's just a damn shame. So, Mick Parkin, being as young as he is, I'm sure every time we see it, an MVP made note of it. Every time we see him in the octagon, he looks stronger and stronger, like he's more physically fit. He just keeps lifting weights. Remember, MVPs, heavyweights don't hit their prime until about 36, if we're being honest, right? You need to get a lot stronger, bigger, stronger. He's only 29. But there's just nothing there that gets me excited. When you're going the distance with these guys down here, Usman, Machado, Pogue, like Machado's no longer a heavyweight. Jamal Pogues, you couldn't knock him out. Mohammed Usman, the brother of Usman, like you can't knock these guys. So we're doing this shit. It's bad. And then you go fight an old Tybura. And Marcin is old as hell. And you couldn't finish him. And you should have. Those hammer fists weren't doing it. You fought a 39-year-old fighter. And you couldn't get it done. I'm frustrated because I have a chance to pick the right fighter and I don't. I felt we got robbed. But I'm also here to assess the fighters and what they did in the cage. And for me, Mick Parkin, Vegas is always going to make you pay for Mick Parkin. We've been talking about Mick Parkin. This is our third time seeing him, or fourth time seeing him in the last 2 years now. That I can vividly remember where he's a favorite and I'm looking at him like, I definitely don't want to pick this mother flipper. But I picked him anyways. But I knew it was a coin flip fight. Okay, I knew that going in. Next fight, I respect the hell out of Felipe Dos Santos, and I told you guys that. I love Loner Kavanaugh. He's amazingly fast. He's got real prospect potential. Like Loner Kavanaugh, undefeated, crisp, speed, and he's got that dog in him. So in the first round, he gets a cut, and blood is everywhere, but he's still got that dog in him, and that's something you got to value. You're fighting a guy in Felipe Dos Santos who rocks him, and that let us know. Remember, you're undefeated. We don't know if you're tough. We don't know if you got a chin. We haven't seen it yet. Well, you know what? In this particular fight, I saw that Loner Kavanaugh's got a chin because he got clocked in the first round when everybody was fresh, and he managed to recover, but he was floored. It was a problem. But he eventually imposed his will. And in this particular fight, we're talking about Loner Kavanaugh, who's a world-class striker. Moves in and out, and at 125 pounds, you don't see power like this. So he's moving out, darting in and out. But pay attention. His takedowns were 4 for 6. That is very good on his takedowns. 4 for 6, is that 83%, something like that? 4 for 6, and you're looking at Felipe Dos Santos, no takedowns. And I told you guys this before the fight. Felipe Dos Santos, we know he's 24 years old. We know he's never been finished. We know he's a good fighter. But now he's lost to Manil Kopp, Andre Lima, and Loner Kavanaugh. We know he's not one of these elite fighters. We know he's not one of these dudes right here. Championship caliber, undefeated. We know he's not these guys. But we also know that he's better than Altamirano. So we're still trying to figure out where Felipe Dos Santos falls in the pecking order, on the totem pole. But we know it's not at the top with these elite prospects. That's something very important to understand. Loner Kavanaugh's the fucking bee's knees, man. The only thing that sucks when I see Loner Kavanaugh on a fight card is they're never going to give us coin flip odds. They're never going to give us something that we can get rich on. You got to believe in Loner Kavanaugh with somebody else. You got to parlay it. Remember, I don't like 4 legs. I don't like anything 4 legs, bro. 4 legs, you can't be in the house. You're an animal. You don't belong in the house. So parlays with 4 legs, get the fuck out of here. Not happening, bro. 2 legs. That's where I'm at on most of my parlays. 2 legs is how I like them. That's my girl. I like my girl with 2 legs. So shout out to Loner Kavanaugh. We will be with Loner for a while until we find, at some point you got to fade an undefeated fighter. But not the case. Now, Jai Herbert against Chris Padilla. I thought this was a gift all week long. Jai Herbert being a favorite is absurd. Jai Herbert doesn't have the mentality. He doesn't have that dog in him. And he tried to impose that dog in the 3rd round of this fight. But I just don't like the way Jai Herbert fights. His skill set is good. Like, he's a good striker. Limited grappler and limited mentally. He doesn't want to go to the deep end. He doesn't want to do it, bro. He's not doing it. You know, when I was in the Army, all the time I say these stories, I was in the Army, we used to have to run up, I remember running up this mountain. And we would start running, and if anybody was ahead of me, I just remember thinking, nah, I'll beat them at the top. I'll beat them to the top. They're not built like this. Mentally, they're not built like this. We're going to keep going, and eventually they're just all going to start walking and quit, and I'm just going to pass them. I know this. And you had to just have that self-belief and just keep going. And some days you beat everybody, some days you don't. But you got to have that self-belief. Jai Herbert does not have that self-belief. Jai Herbert does not. He went hard in the 3rd and increased his output. And as a matter of fact, he did it so well in the 3rd that we thought we lost this fight. And we didn't. Now, Chris Padilla, what we saw in this fight was a limited athlete. The minute you get in a fight with somebody who's more athletic than you, you're very limited. So I think there's a really high floor, but a low ceiling for Chris Padilla. And he's now won 7 in a row. He's going to get some real contenders in there. And I don't think Chris Padilla matches up well with the top 15 ranked fighters in the division. I don't think he matches up well with the fighters at the top. So we're going to have to start fading Chris Padilla real soon. We took Taco in this fight. We got an underdog hit. It was pretty cool, but it was a prayer. It was all luck because I really felt like he lost the fight, and that's the only time we ever get one on our side. So we took it and we laughed it off. We were like, yeah, we hit. And I know the mood on the live server, on the Discord server, was like, whatever, bro. Like, we got it right, but, man, it didn't feel right because that definitely wasn't what we were anticipating. Next fight, Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Sherrier. Very, very disappointed in Morgan Sherrier. I made him a lock. And you guys know what I say to you guys. I think I said it in the pre-fight. No, it was about Vujicic. I said, if I miss any lock, it's going to be Vujicic, for sure. Vucinic, whatever his name is. But in this particular fight here, Morgan Sherrier is supposed to be a dog, man. He gave a war to Chepe. And when you see a guy in a war with Chepe, you go, all right. Then every time he's in the cage, we know that guy can bite down on his mouthpiece and go get it. Nah. Nathaniel Wood, for 27 fights in his life, Nathaniel Wood was very impressive today. He really shocked me. And this is just me legitimately missing. And I don't, there's no judges to blame. There's no assessment wrong. Like, for me, I don't think I would have picked Nathaniel Wood no matter what. When I look at these two names, I have a knee-jerk reaction and go, Morgan Sherrier. Yeah, I'm on Morgan Sherrier. And Nathaniel Wood has always been a good fighter, but I never thought of him like that. Well, when we saw him in the cage today, lightning fast, quick. And when the minute he realizes he had that speed advantage, he was starting to just show out, pulling away with the strikes, with the combos, with the movement, everything. When you got that speed advantage and you can feint on a guy, he bites, and then you come over the top, yeah, you got it. And it was significant. It was very noticeable. So Nathaniel Wood won this fight 30-27, and I don't think it was that close. Like, it really don't. Nathaniel Wood could win that fight 10 times out of 10, just off of sheer speed. So we got to remember that the next time we see Nathaniel Wood. Obviously, he'll get a better opponent. It'll be tough. I wonder if he gets Chepe, but it'll be tough. But Sherrier, on the other end, it's one of these guys who's doing spinning back elbows and spinning back fists and fancy strikes of some sort, trying to show out and stuff. But when you're missing and you're not getting it done, you got to be able to go to the fundamentals. But we just can't forget that Morgan Sherrier is from France. We cannot forget the DNA of a Frenchman. It's not very good. By and large, French fighters have a limitation. It's just where they train, who they train when. who they train with, the resources they have, the facilities. They just don't quite get there like some of the other fighters who are dedicated to this sport. So, yeah, shout out to him. Miss. Speaking of Miss, this one, and I'm kicking myself for this one because I wanted to talk about it. And I think I talked about it in the video. Vucinic was a minus 275 favorite. At one point, he was minus 400. And the thing about Vucinic is he took a while to get to the UFC. And we saw him against Guram on short notice. Took the fight on like 4 days' notice. Showed up and fought his ass off and impressed the world. But he still didn't have a UFC victory. And if you go back and watch the video, I say, hey guys, if there's a lock I'm going to miss, it's this one. Now, I had to make it a lock because it was minus 400. I didn't have to make it a lock. I did because I wanted to take Vucinic. I wanted to take Vucinic, and if you're going to take him, you got to parlay him because of how it was. But I'm really taking him because I don't like Chris Duncan as a fighter. Chris Duncan gets lucky to win fights. Chris Duncan will be getting beat up and then get a guillotine or getting beat up and do some type of submission, get lucky, whatever. But when you're really looking at it, you're looking at a guy who's minus 400 and he's never won a fight in the UFC. His claim to fame is a close fight with a dude we thought was tough in Guram. And then after you watch Guram in the prelim get his ass kicked by Fernandez, you're like, wait, hold up. That performance against a guy who's getting his ass kicked, it doesn't age well. Oh, that's not that impressive. It was at the moment, but it's not. And then you get in the cage with Chris Duncan, and Duncan looked noticeably stronger than you. Physically stronger than you. And the first round, Duncan sits his ass down with a strike and then absolutely mauls him and almost gets a submission. And then we go to the second round, and that's when things get a little absurd. And what I'm saying is Jordan starts doing well in the second round. I'm talking about striking. He starts doing everything right. And he starts looking clean, and I'm like, yeah, that's the guy we're looking for. Go finish this up, get this round, and then we'll get the third, and we'll be straight. And then he shoots for a takedown. The fight IQ is dumb. It's like how to lose a fight 101. Jordan Vucinic's fight IQ is negative 10, like his aura. All them tattoos, now he's got to get a tattoo of Chris Duncan's nickname on his ass. I don't care about none of that. I'm just telling you that Chris Duncan snatched it up and got it done. Chris Duncan just won a fight with 24 significant strikes landed. And it wasn't by knockout. And we were in the second round. But Chris Duncan is relentless with the takedowns, 4 out of 5. Some MVPs won on this, live betting. Shout out to you guys. And it just sucks. Jordan Vucinic, I hate to say it, he's a fraud. He's not Vanderford. He's not any of those guys. He's a fraud. Next fight, Molly McCann against Alexia Thanara. If you were watching the live stream, I told you I think Molly McCann's going to lose this fight and probably retire. Even though I picked her because it was a coin flip, and we just took money on coin flips. That's it. We're taking underdogs if we think it's going the distance. Something's crazy like this. But we knew that Thanara was taking this fight on short notice. She has a world of experience on the ground and grappling, and it showed. Her striking was kind of okay. It's very plotty. It's not impressive. I watched her fight against Bruno Brazil. Not good. I don't like the way she strikes. I hate the way she dances. I hate the way she looks. But when we get on the ground and she starts grappling, she's moving like hot knife through butter. So remember that Alexia Thanara is a threat all day long in grappling. I just don't like a lot of the stuff she does. And if Vegas is going to give us odds like this, you're going to have to get very specific that she wins by submission or fade her completely, because I don't think she's that good of a fighter. Molly McCann just sucks. And don't tell me that she had a great nickname in Meatball. She sucked. All right, she's out of here. Speaking of out of here, we took Kevin Holland. Boom, boom. Shout out to Kevin Holland. We took Kevin Holland as an underdog. I told you that if you're betting on this fight, call the number, man. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or whatever. You got a problem. You don't have to be betting on this fight. But we won, so hopefully you did the right thing. So what do we see? Kevin Holland is more athletic, has a higher ceiling than Gunnar Nelson ever could or ever would. Gunnar Nelson hasn't fought in 2 years. I can't take him. And Gunnar Nelson's he's a one-trick pony. He's just going to try and go out there, grapple, and get a submission of some sort. He's got no ability to strike. He's got no chin nowadays. He's got no cardio, no strength. He just looked like a fading fighter that didn't need to be in there. And you're fighting a guy in Kevin Holland who, yes, is getting embarrassed at 185. But when he comes down to 170, he has a 9-inch reach advantage. He has long extremities. Now, Kevin Holland is very unlikable. Some of the things he did in this fight that will drive you crazy is Kevin Holland just stayed on his back with a closed guard. That's why Gunnar Nelson has 9 minutes of control time. It's not because he got a takedown and he didn't know. Gunnar Nelson was 3 for 10 in takedowns. Kevin Holland, once you take him down, he'll never get back up. He'll close his guard and just stay there because he thinks he's winning the fight with elbows from the bottom. And in this particular case, he was. He was doing a bunch of random stuff. You see the striking differential here, 138 to 30. But it wasn't even like that dominant. It wasn't. And the nerve of all the judges to give Gunnar Nelson a round. I don't know which round they gave him. But in the future, if you ever see Gunnar Nelson again, it's probably going to be a charity fight, a fight that he's not going to take too much damage in. But that dude's an elderly citizen. That dude's not a fighter. And Kevin Holland wants to fight again and again and again and again and again because he's here to fight for money. And you guys need to remember his motivation is to fight for money, not to fight to win, not to fight for a belt. It's not intrinsic motivation. It's instrumental motivation. It's from external things. He's externally motivated by money. And the problem with that is sometimes you might look at your opponent, you might be in a situation and you say to yourself, I already got enough money. I'm good. I'll take this loss. Who cares? And that's the problem, right? Where as opposed to being self-motivated for your country, like the Olympics, or for a belt, like many of the champions are, Kevin Holland's not doing that. He's just out here wasting our time. So careful betting on Kevin Holland. We got it right tonight, but you can get it right. You can get it wrong any day of the week when messing with Kevin Holland. He is a quitter, a known quitter, and he does not respect your coin. But we got it. Shout out to MVPs who took the bet. Next fight, I thought we got robbed. Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Holberg. It was only a 3-round fight. And once again, it's one of these fights where people are saying, well, it could have gone either way. It was unanimous. Again, unanimous. They gave it to Carlos Holberg. A lot of this has to do with the UFC. Just wanted to continue to push Carlos Holberg to be an undefeated fighter. Or not an undefeated fighter, but a young prospect to go win the belt and shit like that. But Jan Blachowicz, having not fought in 2 years, came out and did what I expected with the exception of the fact that he got no takedowns. And if he's not going to get any takedowns and he's just going to do leg kicks and a jab, leg kicks and a jab, that's going to be for a very boring fight. That's going to be a problem, okay? I don't like it. And typically, he's always going to be on the main card and the main event. So who are they going to have him fight next? That's the question. Just keep an eye on that. Jan is a good fighter. I like him, former champ. He's very durable and reliable, but absolutely embarrassing that he didn't utilize his skill set to ensure that he wins this fight. Now, I thought he won the fight. How about that? I thought he won the fight. Carlos Holberg wins this fight, and Carlos Holberg, very underwhelming for me. This is a young guy, moving, sticking and moving, but nothing painful being thrown. Never once had Jan in any type of trouble at any point, and you're fighting a guy that's way older than you. I think Jan's 42. How old is Carlos? Carlos Holberg is 34. Okay, so he's an older guy. But still, you can't do this. You got to go out there and you got to want it. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something that people don't want to hear, and that is I don't think Carlos Holberg has knockout power. The way he doesn't turn over his wrist. So the best he's going to do is swing it like a club, but he doesn't turn over the wrist. So there's no impact there. Carlos Holberg is not a knockout artist. Some people think he is because this 8-1 here, but I've watched enough of him to know he couldn't knock out a 42-year-old guy. He couldn't knock out anybody, and he's been in the cage for a significant amount of time now. Yes, he knocked out Alonzo Menefield in 12 seconds. Come on now. Menefield went out there. Go watch that fight. It'll be embarrassing what you see what Menefield did. And then he knocked out Io Pretoria, but everybody's knocked out Io Pretoria. So that's not a real thing. I don't think Carlos Holberg is a knockout artist. Vegas still does. So the next time we see him in the cage, start thinking about betting the over rounds. And I'm going to tell you the over rounds because he's probably going to be in a 5-round fight, and he's very cautious. He doesn't go for it. He stays back. He throws a couple strikes, and he stays out, and he stays back. And if you're fighting these higher level fighters, which is where he'll be contending for, you're probably going to get both of them equally cautious and skilled, and you might get some over rounds. So just be aware of that when we see Carlos Holberg. He's not going to go out there and take somebody's lunch money. He's not that guy. Just isn't. And then we have Leon Edwards and Sean Brady. Speaking of not that guy, so if you were watching the live stream, I told you I'm going 5 units on Sean Brady money line and 3 units on Sean Brady submission. And I'm just going to try to make back all my money that I lost on the Nathan experiment and the prelim. And we got it. We got it all back. We got it right 100%. This was an easy call for me. I don't care about odds. I don't care what anybody says. This was an easy win, and I didn't feel the need to parlay it with anything. I did send out a chasing parlay. Just wanted to give you guys a plus 500 something. But in reality, I would never bet that. Just wouldn't. When you talk about Sean Brady, I have more faith in Sean Brady than I do anybody else on this card because I knew who he was going against. Leon Edwards has all the quit in the world on him. Leon Edwards' corner wants to fight and win more than he does. He does not want to win. He just doesn't. You could just see it on his face. When he gets taken down and someone takes his back, he just thinks to himself, I don't want to be here. This sucks. I don't want to be here. It's like if you were sitting in a sauna somewhere and you want to leave and you can't. You're just stuck there. And you're like, I don't want to be here. Right? It's the same kind of concept. But Leon Edwards just really, if you can grapple with him, tie up his arms, he loses that sting. If you really look at the arc of his career, without that miracle head kick, this guy's done nothing in his life. This guy's done nothing that warrants you being afraid of Leon Edwards. He's not very good. He's not. Come on, Leon. Don't let him bully you, Leon. Dude sucks. Okay? Shout out to Leon Edwards. If you're watching this, Leon, I don't give a shit, bro. You're from England. You're terrible. Sean Brady. Shout out to you. Sean Brady went out there, imposed his will, did what he does. Close the distance, get the takedown. He did everything we wanted him to do. What you anticipated Sean Brady doing, he did it. There's no mistake about it. 11 minutes of control time, eventually getting the submission. And what I want to tell you guys about this is you don't have to get too excited for Sean Brady. There are limitations to his greatness. Listen to what I'm saying. He is only 5'10". And in this division, there's some bigger guys. And the size gives him problems. But he has a very wide back, which means he's hard to submit in certain positions. He's hard to get rid of. He doesn't have the heaviest hips, but he's very smart and well-versed in grappling. So it's just hard to deal with this man. But to outstrike your opponent by almost 200 strikes, it was 221 to 23. Sean Brady had a game plan, and he implemented it perfect. It was a no-sweat lock, and we didn't make it green and make it a lock. But it was a no-sweat lock. And that sucks. But knowing that, Sean Brady, just be careful. If he's going to fight bigger guys, he's going to run into some problems because there's just limitations to the reach and the distance management. But if he's fighting Bilal, I think Bilal's still a better fighter all the way around. All right? So shout out to Sean Brady for respecting our coin and getting our money back. Pretty awesome stuff. If you look at the fight card now, I'll break it down real quick, our bets. Unfortunately, we missed the parlays. Missing all 3 parlays today pushed us down to 36% on all parlays overall. Usually we have lock parlays, which are these ones right here. We have lean parlays, and we have value parlays. A value parlay we missed, down to 36%. Pretty terrible. The lock parlays, very terrible, 42%. I guess what we're trying to show you here is parlays are how Vegas was built, bro. These sports books are making millions, if not billions of dollars based upon parlays, okay? So that's number one. Careful if you want to make a parlay of any sort. Now, there were weeks in a row where we knocked out the parlays like you wouldn't believe. So don't think for a second we don't hit the parlays, but in the grand scheme of things, even last year, I think we ended the season somewhere around 49%, 48, 49% on parlays. Now, props can be difficult. I usually give you guys a plethora of props. Like I said, we were under the weather. We didn't do it. We're down to 44%. That's actually not too bad considering the odds you get when you pick props. So I'm pretty proud of our prop percentage. It's where it needs to be. But just remember, if the prop is a value prop, it's down to 36%. That's going to be, he wins by knockout in the first round, stuff like that. It's very difficult. 36%. A lean prop has been very healthy. It means if I make it black like this, it's been very healthy. We were supposed to win this Nathan Fletcher by points, and we didn't. That's what I'm saying here. We were supposed to win this, and it would have been right, and we would have been fine. So percentages went down pretty bad. It didn't go well, but we did really well on leans. So the leans improved. We're up to 59%. 2025, our locks are at 61%. This is horrific for us. If I tell you it's a lock and we're at 61%, that's horrific. Last year was 83%. So for us to go from 83%, a 20% differential over the course of 3 months now, that's pretty drastic. And that's what's impacting our parlays and some of the people's feelings. Just remember that you got to pick and choose your battles. You don't have to bet on everything. You don't have to bet on every single fight or anything like that. And it's a marathon, man. It's not a sprint. Hang in there. Keep going. We'll keep trucking along. I know that there are fights where I know the guy's going to win, but we have to do it because the odds are absurd, right? Just be careful. Fade it if you want. Remember, value bets. 43% when I make it purple. That means you would be 57% if I made it purple. If you faded it the other way. Something to think about. Nonetheless, thank you guys for being MVPs. Thank you guys for being here. We'll get after it next week. Reminder, I will not be doing the live stream next weekend. I'm going to be hanging out with my daughter at a volleyball tournament, but I will do the videos on Wednesday and Thursday for you guys. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace.